he'd say. And as the first century fox takes a bow, if Fox could see me now, I'd really love it. If Perkins Fox could see me now. Now Mr. Sewell might wink in his most beautiful smile to see Ooper perform just like the Queen of the Nile. And Bones would try to get me down in his lap, and with his trusty needle, give me a ow! Nurse Chapel would say, being a lady of grace, you be right up here, Ooper. You're someone we can't replace. That's why I love that crew. I love them a lot. If they get on and see me now, I'd really love it. If they could see me now. Somebody's out to get me. Now you know, there are a couple of other people who would really never ever believe it. And I think you know who they are. They would be absolutely green within me. Sorry, Mr. Spock, I really didn't mean that. If they only knew. And you know who. Because they never, ever, ever, ever believe it. Check off and a Oman Ram. Both would agree that couldn't be Uhura, no, that couldn't be she. But Scotty beat me down here, and I'm gonna stay until I've won your heart, and I've had my say. If they could see me now, that could Starfleet too. A supernova star in orbit just for you, while you shout and scream. She's great, oh wow! If they could see me now, I really love it. If they could only see me now, I really mean it. A Star Trek crew. If they only knew how I do it, Gene Roddenberry. If that crew could say me now. Beat me up, Scotty.
Michelle Nichols! Michelle! First Lady of the Galaxy, make that the universe. Michelle Nichols. Come on. Give it up for her. Give it up for the First Lady of Star Trek. Come on. Give it up. Michelle Nichols and Johnny V. All right. Tony. Wow. Well, we've got some incredible stuff planned now, and we've been waiting for this point all evening. I know you all have. This gentleman that we're here to pay tribute to is an incredible human being, in addition to being an incredibly talented actor, one of the Paramount stable for more years than he might wish to imagine, but all beloved by us, of course, for his work in Star Trek. It's such an incredible pleasure to be able to dedicate this evening to him and to pay the tribute to him that he so richly deserves. Join me in welcoming our own beloved DeForest Kelley.
doctor, not a mechanic. Isn't that Michelle something? I tell you. Boy, she brought back memories to me tonight. You know, I'm a Southern boy. My father was a Baptist minister. And I started out singing spirituals just like she did. You don't think I can sing one? I'm going to sing one for you right now. She thinks she's so hot. If the world from you withhold all its silver and its gold, and you have to get along with meager fare, just remember in his word how he feeds the little bird, and take your burdens to the Lord and leave them there. Then we all shout, Amen! I did row, row, row your boat and you killed me. I want to thank you all for all of your kind letters and cards and good wishes and all that sort of thing. And I must tell you, this is the first time I've appeared for Adam, which I just don't know what the hell I'm here for or what I'm going to do, except sing that spiritual.
Well, actually, Dee, we were hoping that you would read Big Bird's Dream.
I would like to. I know that so many of you have heard it so many times before, and so I didn't bring a copy with me.
Ah, but I have my copy. So you can read my copy. He should read it, shouldn't he? That's all. Give it up. Okay.
The trickster.
All right.
I gotta tell you, I'm gonna have to bend down a little bit with this. If I bring it up here, you can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Hear me okay? Good. And don't, because I'm putting on glasses. Leonard Nimoy, Spock's been wearing them for 45 years. I didn't start them until the last year of Star Trek. This poem, let me tell you, I wrote this poem in 1977, and of course, Star Trek had failed to make the Nielsen ratings by that time. Everybody thought it was dead. And we were doing a convention in Los Angeles, the convention center, and it was a big convention, and I wrote this thing in more or less in memory about how it all started up again. And during that convention, oddly enough, we learned that we were going to do Star Trek. Well, it turned out to be the motion picture, but originally they were thinking about doing a group of like 90-minute films for television. But I wrote this poem, and there are a few little things in there like Hollywood Way, where NBC is located. And during that time, Leonard was in New York doing a play, and William Shatner was, he's always busy. You know, he's doing something all the time. But he was writing a book at that time, and George Takei was on the mayor's staff, and Michelle was working with NASA. Jimmy had an RV, and he was running around the country, and so, I don't know, I put this crazy thing together. And a lot of people got a kick out of it, and so I'll give it a go. Star Wars had just come out at that time, and Paramount thought, my God, we've got to do something. So let's get these people back together, wherever they are, and see what we can do. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there lived a big bird. We called Gene the Big Bird. When something went wrong on the set, we'd say, get the big bird down. That's where that, it wasn't the great bird with us, it was the big bird. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there lived a big bird nesting on a play. And he thought if he could hatch it and get it on the air, he'd make himself a fortune, build himself a lair. Well, the day finally came and the story was born. He let out a cackle, no more corn. And he flew from his nest with the play in his claw, certain to sell it, for it had no flaw. The story he hatched was within this yarn took place on a ship as big as a barn. Not only that, it was in outer space, far removed from the human race. Its crew searched the universe for worlds unknown, to teach and learn and not try to own. Not only that, they built a new nation, this time known as a federation. All of this taking place in the skies on a starship known as the Enterprise. Now, wouldn't you think, with a plot like this, the Big Bird had what couldn't miss? Well, he landed in Burbank on Hollywood Way and headed east to sell his play. But things weren't as easy as he thought they'd be, particularly when dealing with NBC. The Enterprise crew was one of a kind, superb in their work, with good things in mind, different in color, different in race, green, white, yellow, and one blackface. At first, the black was not to be, till the Big Bird screamed at NBC. It's either she or I, he began to yell. Who knows who's going to ring whose bell? With great reluctance, they agreed to say, okay, fellas, we'll do it his way. A later time, on another day, they would be the first to boast they went that way. Most who read it said this bird is nuts, but there was one among them possessed with guts. Let's go with this bird, loud and clear. He's saying things people should hear. Let's give it a try and hope it will work, so spoke the head of the big network. So the pilot was made, and they all took a look. My God, one shouted, he's filmed a book. Another one yelled, it's too far out, I don't understand what it's all about. But the one with guts had a grin on his face, and now he was ready to state his case. Far out, he said, I liked what I heard. I'm still gonna go with this crazy bird. So they made another pilot, with a change here and there. And finally, they got it on the air. The Big Bird felt a sense of elation, so many days of complete frustration. Now he knew the job was done, and he was proud of his fine new son. There was only one thing left for the Big Bird to do, find a name for his dream come true. So he gave a big party so the brass would appear to name this dream that he held so dear. When the party was calmed down and the feeling was mellow, the bird stepped forward to christen this fellow. Lift your glasses, he said loud. I've got a baby of which I'm proud. And he took an edict from his hand, the symbol he'd created for the change in man. And he placed it tenderly around the small neck, and a mellifluous voice said, Star Trek. The brass with guts jumped up and down. My God, he said, what a sound. How did he think of such a name? It's commercial as hell, the name of the game. Well, the public loved him, but the Nielsen was low. They tell the networks what to show. The word was out for all to hear, Star Trek dead after second year. The rest is history, as you surely know, for you, the fans, saved the show. The millions of letters you sent to the brass simply knocked them on their ass. But after one more year, they put it away, not knowing it would rise in syndicated play. Then came conventions and letters and toy, reruns and ratings and lots of noise. Finally, the studio was heard to say, we'll remake Star Trek another way. How will we do it? One of them said. Not as a series, the reruns aren't dead. Let's do it as a movie, or a special, or a play. For heaven's sake, let's do it some way. Precious moments are flying by. The actors are aging and soon may die. Are they still available, or should we recast? Without the originals, how long would it last? Go get the Big Bird, he knows where they are, and have him remind Spock he's still not a star. We've got to keep their egos down in case replacements can't be found. So in flew the Big Bird, ready to squeal, naturally anxious to make a deal. First, he said, we should discuss the star, for all of them probably think they are. Don't be funny, an executive said. If that's the case, the whole thing's dead. What's with Shatner? How does he look? I don't know, but he's written a book. Seems he wanted the world to know how he suffered making the show. Well, what's with Kelley? What's with his life? He's living in the valley with the very same wife. I know one thing that's bugging him. He's sick of that line, "He's dead." How about doing? The one with the brogue? Well, he bought a motor coach and he hit the road. He's grown a beard, it's silver and black, and he says he wants to keep it if he comes back. Well, what about the gay? He flew the damn ship. Well, he's in politics, a whole new trip. He had a job on the mayor's staff, but they couldn't take that crazy laugh. Okay, what about Michelle? The one you said would ring our bell. Well, she's working for NASA, goes all over the nation, trying to interest women in the space administration. They're using the Enterprise to colonize space and can't seem to do it without the female race. She says she's had it in communications and wants to come back in public relations. Well, where the hell's Kenny, our young Russian lad? Oh, he's writing for films and he's really not bad. As a matter of fact, if he can be found, he could be the one to get this off the ground. Well, now that covers just about the entire crew. Majel's no problem. She's married to you. Don't you believe it? Not on your life. I don't make deals with my very own wife. And even though she's married to me, she still commands the same high fee. If this show goes, she'll be back, you can bet. I've never written a script without her yet. And there's one more actor I think you've left out that I really think we should talk about. I know it's something you hate to discuss because it's going to create quite a fuss. I'm referring to Nimoy and what he has to say. He's in New York doing a play. He's portraying a doctor and says it's a joy, and he might come back if he could play McCoy. McCoy's role, the executive said, my God, man, he's out of his head. Well, I'm telling you now, that really takes guts. The brass will think we've all gone nuts. What about Kelley if Spock plays McCoy? He'll just slip if we got another boy. But the big bird spoke with that smile on his face, the one he wears when he solved the case. Easy, gentlemen. Don't worry about that. I can fix him in nothing flat. So just relax and calm your fears. I'll paint D green and give him the ear. So that brings us up to where we are today, with thousands of people gathered to say, Star Trek lives, it will not die. When will someone make it fly? Now then, if you're still awake, I have a very short thing I would like to. I started to write another poem and I couldn't finish it. So I thought I'd write you what I have written down on this piece of paper. Entirely new thing. A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I think most of you heard me say, Star Trek lives, it will not die. And you're the someone who made it fly. Well, the studio's in a kind of fix. They'd really like to do number 6. But after we did number 5, Paramount's faith took a dive. But 91 is a really big year. 25, or didn't you hear? Think of the press they can get. It makes them think, you can bet. What they'll do, we're waiting to hear, but it's hard to ignore. the 25th year.
Okay. Now, just a second. Just a second. Just hang on. We're not done with this. Okay. Now we're going to have some fun. There's a number of people that have come here and want to get up here and say a little something about their relationship with Dee and what he means to them as much as he means to all of us. So we're going to bring them up one by one. First of all, I want to bring up this beautiful lady sitting here who entertained us all tonight, Nichelle Nichols.
I've said before, and I'll say it again, DeForest Kelley is about the sexiest man I've ever seen in my life. And that's okay, I've even told his wife. I really think he's the most beautiful person to work with. He's a gentleman. He's kind of sassy. And he's never looked better than he looks this moment. I'm going to tell one little tiny story on him that he may not remember. When we first did the show, when we were both just children, it was about the first couple of months, it was in the first year of the show. And Dee and Bill and Leonard were standing over there, and I realized that they were not only looking at me, but talking about me. And they were going like, no, you do it, no. And so they decided that Leonard, that Dee, being the most gentlemanly and discreet of the three of them, would be the one to do it. So Dee said, all right, okay, just stand over there, I'll go do it. So he came over to me and he said, and in the meantime, they were so busy doing this, they weren't aware that I was aware that they were doing something, right? And that I had something to do with it. So I kind of watched him coming over me, and I started moving toward my dressing room. And so finally he said, Nichelle, come here. And so he said to me, which he always does, you know. I wanted to ask you a question, if you don't mind. It's kind of personal. Okay. And he said, who does your work? And I said, my what? And he said, he said, he asked me, who does your work? Now, this was my first big chance in Hollywood, and I didn't want anybody to know that I didn't know what anybody was talking about, because I thought everybody knew what everybody was talking about, and I didn't know the language. So I said, oh, and I couldn't think of anything clever to say. So I said the most clever thing. What work? And he looked at me and he said, we all smoked at that time. I didn't smoke, he smoked at that time. Bill smoked, Leonard smoked, they all smoked. And he smoked, he said, you know, your work. Your work. And I said, what work? And he said, your dental work. And they got angry. Now the other guys are moving in on him because they think he's getting the answer, you know. They're right behind him. And I said, what dental work? And he says, who kept your teeth? And I said, my teeth aren't kept. And I thought, my God, I've done something wrong. I should go get my teeth kept. And I said, I don't have any dental work. I don't have any tapped teeth. And he said, and this is just about the time the other two had gotten to him, and he said, for God's sake, are those all yours? And I said, yes. And he said, that's disgusting. The gentleman isn't always a gentleman, but he's very clever.
Thanks, Shell. Shell, why don't you stay up here? You want to stay up here? Stay up here. Make yourself comfortable, okay? Okay, we're ready for AC now. We have a very distinguished guest here. This gentleman has been a producer at Paramount for many, many years and has worked closely with Dee for many years, a very dear friend of Dee's. Please join me in welcoming Mr. A.C. Lyles.
Years ago, let me preface something that I don't know whether AC remembers or not. Because this man was with me on the first movie that I made, a thing called not a thing.
Don't hold that against me, though.
What, the microphone? Called Fear in the Night. And he had, a magazine writer came out from the East to do a story on me. And we were going to lunch, we're in a car. AC, I was sitting in front, and AC was in the back, and I was telling him about a story when I first came to Hollywood as a very young man, and my father, who had been a minister in the South, had done a favor of some sort for a family here who had a young boy who was in pictures, and he said, why don't you go by and say hello to them and tell them you're my son. So I drove to Hollywood, and I did. And a lady came to the door. And I asked for this young man, and she said, he's not here. And I started to walk away. I thanked her, and she said, young man? And I said, yes. She said, are you here in Hollywood to try to get into the movies? And I said, no, ma'am, I'm not at all. And I wasn't. And she said, I just want to tell you, there's a young man who lives here, who knows everybody in Hollywood, and said he can't get a job. And I said, oh, AC, sitting in the back seat listening to this story. He says, Dee, wait a minute. He said, I was that young man who couldn't get a job.
You know, I have to tell you, I've been at Paramount 52 years, and I look every night of it, don't I? But this rascal here, and he is a rascal, and at one time or another, as Dee said, I've known everybody that's worked at Paramount or in the industry, and I don't know of anyone that is more beloved at Paramount than DeForest. I was given an award by the Boy Scouts, and those of you who are Boy Scouts know that a Boy Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And the first time I heard that, I thought they were talking about Dee. And I found out that it's all the Boy Scouts. And I have to tell you, this fella here, I've never known anybody who can be as laid back as DeForest Kelley. Now you see Henry Fonda on the screen, easy. Bill Cosby, easy. You hear Bing Crosby sing, easy. You hear Perry Como, you know, he sounds like he's just waking up. And Dean Martin. But DeForest Kelley can do lazy better than anybody I've ever known in my life. Now, if you notice his smile, when you tell him something, he gets humor. It takes a couple minutes for it to register. Because Dee is sort of working up to it, you see. And first his eyes sort of twinkle, and then there's a little expression and a change of facial muscles, and then there's a little, and it's sort of like Jack Benny's car trying to start. Like that. And then if you really give him a whammo, once in a while he'll lower his head like that, and to do that. But Dee, before I started, I was in publicity on the first picture that Dee did there in the night, and then I knew right away they had a big star there. And then later, when I became a producer, I started making westerns, and Dee did a lot of those westerns for me and graced my reputation on the life by coming in and being in it with this. And I remember one time we were making a picture, I think, Dee, with Jane Russell and maybe it was Richard Widmark and Dana Andrews. Anyway, Dee was the heavy, and this man plays a heavy like nobody else in town. He is very good. Ask Gene Russell. I wrote this picture, he was me. And now the Indians had attacked the wagon train, and they captured Dee, and Dee was lashed to the wagon wheel. And we, Apache uprising, and we had a rain sequence, the rain birds are going, and the Indians are shooting bow and arrows at him. The idea was to see how close they could come to him without actually nipping him. And it was right around noontime, the cast crew were hungry, so the director called lunch. We went over, we're eating lunch, and halfway through lunch, someone said, "What happened to Dee?" He's back tied down. So we rushed back, got the poor guy out and that. Now, we're making another picture at the studio, another Western, and Dee is in it, and he's a heavy, and he has a fight with Dana Andrews. And I was in the commissary, and Michael Landon came over to me and said, "AC, yeah, Michael was then doing Bonanza. That was before he did Little House on the Prairie. And he said, "AC, you can do me a big favor." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, you got to fight next Friday with DeForest Kelley and Dana Andrews." And he said, the fellow that's going to, a fellow named Bob Miles, who's a stuntman, is going to do Dana Andrews, doubling. I'd like to double DeForest Kelley in the fight. I said, "Gee, Michael, I can't do that. You're in the series." I said, "Suppose you get hurt, break a leg, the series would break down." I said, "David Dortart, the producer, would kill me, and NBC would sue me." So he said, "Suppose I get it okayed." About an hour later, I got a call from David Dortart, said it's okay for him to do it, and I said, "What about NBC?" An hour later, I got a call from NBC, and they said they'd give me a letter, not holding me responsible, if Michael Landon broke a leg or something, doubling DeForest Kelley in this fight. So Michael Landon came over to do the doubling Dee with Bob Miles for Dana Andrews, and they put on the greatest fight in the whole world. It was it disrupted Bonanza, because everybody from Bonanza came over to watch Michael Landon doubling DeForest Kelley in this fight. 3 months later, Dee goes to Universal to do a picture, and there's another fight in it. And the producer says, "Dee, we'll have to find a stunt double to do your fight. Who doubles you these days?" He said, "Michael Landon." But I have to tell you, Michael Landon, bless his heart, might have double D in the picture, but nobody double this guy in real life. He is very special, not only you people, he's very special to us at Paramount and to all of the Star Trek people, and we just love him. Yes.
That's the first time he ever got me doubled in a movie.
Thank you, folks, for letting me come here and say a few things about my good buddy. I've known him so long that when I knew him, his hair was black and I had hair. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, AC. Okay. Next up, we have a very talented young lady who worked with you, of course, in the series, and we all love her. Let's bring her out right now, Grace Lee Whitney.
This is a great gal.
Oh, thanks, Dee. I love you so much. I'm so glad we're all here together. Isn't it special? Thank you. Thank you. You look very handsome. Welcome. My heart is really beating. Woo! I just want to say that I'm so proud to be part of this whole group. And Dee and I started out in Police Story together, and then went from Police Story to Star Trek. So I've been trying to think. I asked Gene tonight if he could remember the word in Miri. Do you remember the line in Miri that you had so much trouble with that we used to tease you unmercifully about? And it was something, a long word, a long medical word, and what a terrible thing to do to him on the stage. But I wondered if you remembered it.
Somebody out here will.
Would somebody out there remember it?
In another episode of Xenopolythene.
Xenopolycythemia.
Whoa. That's a mouthful. Yeah. Anyway, it's good to see you. And I hope you have a real good time tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Grace. Grace, stay over if you can. Okay. All right. I think Richard, we're going to bring out now. We have a couple of letters that are going to be read by a gentleman who is very dear to all of us in the Star Trek universe. He really has been a major, major help to all of us fans in keeping the whole kind of movement alive, and we really love this dude. Welcome, Richard Arnold, okay?
This first letter is to DeForest Kelley. We were very pleased to learn that you are being honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award this weekend. Your dedicated support of the North Shore Animal League is merely a reflection of your outstanding contribution and achievements in many other worthwhile areas. We can think of no one more deserving or receiving this honor than yourself. Congratulations from all of us at the North Shore Animal League. And this other one from a gentleman who could not be here. Dear D. Kelley, as you well know, I am a cool, unemotional, logical kind of guy. So let me go on record as being totally devastated that I can't be there to kiss you on the face and tell you how much I love you. Logically, Leonard Nimoy.
Thanks, Richard. Okay, we have a pretty special surprise now. Let's bring this person up here, if you will. Pretty tough character, pretty tough dude, let me tell you. He's a tough dude. He's as tough as they come, huh? Real tough dude. Tough guy. Tough dude.
I just heard Leonard's letter. Leonard's letter said he'd kiss you on the face to tell you how much. Dee, you're my oldest friend. I don't mean I've known you the longest, you know what I mean? And this Lifetime Achievement Award?
Yes.
The achievement is living this long, you know? Anybody who's lived as long as you have, deserves an achievement award.
You asked me enough questions how I did it, so you should learn.
That's true. That's true. I've asked him many times, how did he do it? And he'd tell me in loving detail how he did it. And then I got into all kinds of trouble.
That's why I gave you double microphones.
DeForest, it's a pleasure to be here on this occasion. What exactly is the occasion?
I have no idea.
But whatever it is, it's a pleasure to be here.
I have no idea why I'm here, Bill. And I was surprised when I saw you.
And you know, with my arm around you, there's a great deal of muscle, and there's a few more pounds around there than the last time I saw you. You look healthier and better than I've seen you in a long time.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Now, I think we got one more person coming in here, is that correct?
Before you do, while Bill is here, I just want to cap this story while he's here because I want to say that Dee and Bill,
Well, listen.
they still aren't capped.
I think this is really something.
They're still all mine.
I just saw how old you were.
This guy knows so much about horses, he can look in a human's mouth and tell your age.
36 if you're a day. I also lie.
Okay, there's
That old?
somebody else I want to bring up here right now. And really, tell you the truth, without this person, I don't think any of us would be in this room right now. I love this man. He is one of the great thinkers of this century or of this any time, Gene Roddenberry. Oh, the great bird of this universe and all universes.
Well, I couldn't let this go by without being here, and my mind goes back out to so many years in the past, as they said, you and I started on another series before Star Trek, and another series before that, and so I finally got him working. But I have never had so much pleasure with another person in this profession as I've had with Dee. I honor him as a gentleman, and I adore him as an actor. And Dee, you're going to play the lead in my next series.
Story. We were doing a series called 333 Montgomery, in which I was portraying a criminal lawyer out of San Francisco for Gene. And we had a marvelous time. But this particular night, they were searching, they had selected a jury, and they were trying to find a jury foreman. And we went to a nightclub, I can't recall the name of it, but It was a rather rowdy place. There was a gal on the stage that was laying down on her back and shaking more than Michelle Nichols. With things like, make him suffer. You know? I wrote a little note and passed it down the line to Gene, and I said, there's your jury foreman. Thank you so much, Gene, for being here. And thank you, Bill, and Michelle, and Richard, and Grace Lee Whitney, and A.C. Lyle sitting down there on the end. So many memories have passed through my mind tonight, and I want to tell you that I love all these guys up here as much as they say they love me.
Now, we're almost out of time, but this is an opportunity that, on behalf of everybody here, your peers, Gary and me at Creation, and everybody out in the audience, because we really do love you. And Gene received an honor earlier this year that was just incredible from the March of Dimes. I was lucky enough to be there, and I have to tell you that Roddenberry deserved all that and much, much more, because he's an incredible man. But I have to tell you that it also got us to thinking that we really wanted to make a statement about Dee, how much we feel about Dee. What I want to give to him right now, it's very important to us. This is, going to give Dee this Lifetime Achievement Award here, presented to DeForest Kelley, June 23rd, 1990, in recognition of your outstanding contributions to film and television. On behalf of all of us, God bless you, Dee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn Kelley.
I'd like to say that, which I always say, I've been lucky enough to make a living, but she has made the living worthwhile. We're just starting out. In September, it will be the 45th year that I've... Well, she liked them awful young. But I would like to also thank, besides this group here, Adam Malin and Laurie, and all of you lovely people for being here to share in this wonderful moment for me. And I thank you very, very much.
What can you say, huh? There's just nothing left to say. DeForest Kelley, ladies and gentlemen, long overdue, Lifetime Achievement Award, big man on campus, superstar, and great guy. So let's have a great hand for everybody that came tonight to honor Dee. Everybody in the cabaret. Good boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Live long and prosper. Good night.